My sweetheart, today I will guide you to remember something you did not lose, you only forgot. You see, long before you had a name, before you had a job, before you ever failed an exam or missed an opportunity, you were already a creative being. You arrived here with a mind that can imagine, with a heart that can desire, and with an energy field that continually sends out signals and draws experiences back to you. That is your nature. And yet, when we live in human bodies, in human families, with human rules and human fears, we forget. We learn to think of ourselves as only this or only that. Only a woman, only a man, only a worker, only someone with this background, only someone with those mistakes. We shrink our identity down to a little box, and then we try to stuff our huge, beautiful dreams into that tiny box, and of course they don't fit. There is nothing wrong with you for forgetting. Forgetting is part of being human. But now, sitting here together, you have a chance to remember. You are not a powerless person trying to move a stubborn universe. You are a powerful being learning to direct your own energy. I want you to think of your mind as a paintbrush and your attention as the paint. Wherever you keep placing that brush, you are adding color and form to the canvas of your life. Most people are painting without realizing they are painting. They rehearse fears, they repeat old judgments, they speak about their limitations, and then they look at the picture in front of them and say, "See, I told you it's impossible." But the universe is not judging, it is not arguing, it is not saying you are wrong or you are right. It is simply reflecting back the patterns you keep holding. The universe does not debate your beliefs. It obeys the vibration you practice. When you maintain the belief, "This is too hard for me," life happily serves you more and more evidence of how hard it is. When you begin to practice, "I am learning, I am growing, I am allowed to receive," life finds delightful ways to confirm that, too. There is no external committee sitting somewhere deciding what your limits are. The only limits that really bind you are the ones you repeat to yourself so often that they begin to feel like fact. So today, I want to gently, lovingly loosen those inner limits. Not by shouting at you, not by pretending your past didn't happen, but by reminding you that every belief you hold is a choice and a habit, not a law of physics. When you say, "I could never do that," you are not describing the world, you are describing your current identity. And identities can change. You have already changed so many times. You are not the same little child who first learned to tie shoes, or read, or ride a bicycle. You are not the same version of yourself who made those old mistakes. You are the one who lived through all of that and is still here, willing to grow. Manifesting the impossible is not about forcing life to obey you. It is about expanding yourself until the dream fits who you believe you are. When you remember your creative nature, your whole relationship with impossible begins to soften. Let's look at some of the invisible walls you may have built inside yourself. One of the strongest is the wall of the past. This sounds like, "I failed last time, so this time will be the same. I tried that business and it collapsed. I loved and I was betrayed. I studied and I still didn't get the job." You take an old chapter and you use it as a template for all future chapters. Imagine picking up a book and saying, "Chapter 3 was sad, so every chapter from now on must be sad." You would smile at that, wouldn't you? And yet you do that in your own mind. The past is information. It is not destiny. It can show you what you believed, how you reacted, what you tolerated, where you abandoned yourself. That is all. Your past shows you who you were, not who you are allowed to become. When you say, "Because it was like this, it will always be like this," you are not describing reality. You are renewing a contract with an old identity. You can thank your past for what it taught you and still decide, from today, I respond differently. Another subtle wall is built from other people's sentences. Someone like me doesn't do that. People from my family don't succeed in that way. I'm too old. I'm too young. I'm too quiet. I'm too loud. These are often not your original thoughts. They came from parents, teachers, culture, the media. You heard them often, and they sank into your subconscious like little programs. If you grew up hearing, "Don't aim too high, you will be disappointed," then of course, a big dream will feel dangerous. If you learned, "Good girls don't ask," or "Real men don't need help," then of course, receiving will feel uncomfortable. So you tell yourself, "This is just the way people like me are." My darling, there is no people like me. There is only you, this one unique, unrepeatable expression of life. You are not a category. You are a once-in-history event. And a once-in-history event does not have to squeeze itself into a stereotype to be valid. Then there is the wall of time. It's too late. If only I had started earlier. I should have done this in my 20s, my 30s, before I had children, before I got sick. Time becomes a weapon you use against yourself. Notice how often you say "should" in your thoughts. I should be further along. I should already have this. Every "should" is an invisible rope pulling you out of the present moment and tying you to a fantasy version of you that never existed. Right now, you are exactly the age you are meant to be for the lessons your soul is learning. Right now, you have experiences and wisdom you did not have before. Right now is the only doorway through which anything new can come. The universe is not counting your birthdays. It is listening to your beliefs. As long as you are alive, you are on time for your own path. Your schedule is not late. Your self-belief is just tired. I want to offer you a reframe that may feel a little bold at first. You have probably spent a long time thinking, "My dream is too big." Too big for your background, too big for your money, too big for your education, too big for your personality. What if that is not the problem at all? It's not that your dream is too big. It may be that your current identity is too small. Not small in value, but small in definition. If you define yourself only by your wounds, your failures, your labels, your current bank account, then yes, the dream will look enormous. But the dream was given to the real you, the one who existed before the wounds, the one who can grow beyond these labels. Instead of shrinking the dream down to fit your fear, what if you allowed yourself to grow into the version of you who can carry it? You don't have to do this in one giant leap. You don't wake up one day and say, I am completely different now. And suddenly, the impossible appears. You begin with tiny shifts in the story you tell yourself. When the past whispers, "You failed," you respond, "Yes, I learned. I am not finished." When the stereotype says, "People like me don't succeed," you answer, "People like me are born every day. I choose to be an example of something new." When time hisses, "Too late," you breathe and say, "Today is the only day that has power. Today, I can take one step." Every time you answer an old belief with a kinder, truer thought, you are widening the space inside you where miracles can land. You are not forcing the universe to do anything. You are making room for it to meet you. So, as we prepare to move into the daily practice part of this journey, I want you to pause and feel this. You are not broken because you have limits. You only adopted them from stories, from pain, from fear. If you could install them, you can uninstall them. You don't need to be ashamed of the walls. You only need to be willing to open a door. Tonight, we have gently knocked on 3 of those walls: the wall of your past, the wall of other people's sentences, and the wall of time. In the next part, I will hold your hand and show you a simple daily rhythm, a practice you can repeat that helps you remember your creative power every single day, until what once felt impossible begins to feel like the natural next chapter of who you are. Relax with me now, my darling, and stay right here with the sound of my voice, as if we were sitting together in a quiet room and you had finally given yourself permission to rest. You don't have to be strong for anyone in this moment. You don't have to perform or prove. You don't have to pretend you are fine when you are tired inside. You can simply breathe and let your shoulders soften and let your jaw loosen and feel the chair or the bed holding you up. And as you listen, I'd like you to imagine that your heart is a little more open with every breath, like a flower that has been tight for a long time and is now noticing that the sun is gentle and the air is safe. Because in this little pocket of time, you truly are safe. And we are going to talk directly to that deep part of you that has always believed just a bit in magic, even when life tried to talk you out of it. I will offer you some sentences, and you can repeat them after me, in your mind or out loud. There is no pressure to believe them perfectly, only a willingness to let them knock softly on the door of your subconscious. And if another voice appears and says, "No, that's not true for you," you don't have to fight it. We'll simply let that voice be there and choose to give more attention to the new thought. Because what you give your attention to grows, and you are finally allowed to let something kind grow inside you. So as you sit here, put one hand on your heart if you can, and notice your own warmth, the simple fact that you are alive today, and silently say with me, "I am willing to believe in miracles, and I welcome them into my life now." And then say it again in your own rhythm. "I am willing to believe in miracles, and I welcome them into my life now." And notice how the word willing softens the resistance, because you don't have to force yourself to be convinced. You are just opening a window. You have spent so many years rehearsing everything that could go wrong. It is all right if this feels strange at first, but there is a part of you that knows, at least a little, that miracles are not reserved for special people. They are natural outcomes when a mind and a heart become more friendly with life. And when you keep whispering that you are willing to believe in them, you are sending a signal to the universe that you are ready to be surprised in beautiful ways, and the universe always hears a willing heart. Now, as you keep your attention on your heart, imagine all the heavy stories you have told yourself about why you cannot, why you are too late, too broken, too ordinary, and imagine that those stories are like chalk drawn on a sidewalk and a gentle rain is beginning to fall. And as you watch this inner rain, you can affirm with me, every barrier between me and my dreams is gently dissolving now. And once more, every barrier between me and my dreams is gently dissolving now. And perhaps a third time, slowly, every barrier between me and my dreams is gently dissolving now. Because I want you to feel that you do not have to break the walls with violence. You can let them melt. You can let old conclusions soften. You can notice that many of the blocks were never solid to begin with. They were only thoughts that had been repeated so often they felt like stone. And now, each time you speak this new sentence, you are adding a little warmth, a little kindness. And stone cannot withstand that forever. It begins to crumble, and soon you find that what looked like a prison was actually a paper box you can simply step out of. And that is what you are practicing right now with these gentle words. Take another easy breath and let it out a little longer than you inhaled, as if you are sighing out a piece of tension. And listen as I remind you of something your soul has always known. Life is not random punishment, even when it feels chaotic. There is a deeper order that responds to the tone of your being. And when you feel weary, it is very healing to lean into the idea that you are not alone in organizing your life. So say quietly with me, the laws of the universe are always working for my highest good. And again a bit softer, the laws of the universe are always working for my highest good. And once more, as though you were reassuring a frightened child inside, the laws of the universe are always working for my highest good. And notice how different that feels compared to the old belief that everything is against you, that you have to fight for every inch. You may not understand the timing yet. You may not like every twist in the story, but you are allowed to experiment with this new assumption that something larger than your personality is on your side. And when you adopt that assumption even a little, your body relaxes, your nervous system loosens its grip, and from that softer place, you can see possibilities you could not see when you were braced for disaster, because fear narrows your vision and trust gently widens it. And of course, your mind will want to remind you of all the times things were hard. And we are not denying that. We are simply choosing not to build a temple to those memories. You have given enough of your life to rehearsing the evidence that you are unlucky. So today we begin collecting a new kind of evidence that help arrived when you needed it, that some supposed disasters became turning points, that sometimes a closed door protected you from something you did not yet understand. And as you remember even one such moment, you support the affirmation you just said. You give it little roots, and it can take hold. Now let's address another old chain you have carried. The belief that your history is your destiny. The idea that because it has always been one way, it must continue that way. My dear, that is simply not true, and it never was. So breathe in some fresh air and say with me, I am not limited by my past or by old beliefs. I am free to create my future. And again, I am not limited by my past or by old beliefs. I am free to create my future. And notice if some part of you rises up and says, but you don't know what I've done. You don't know how many times I failed. And I will tell you gently, I don't need to know, because the universe has forgiven you long before you ever thought to ask, and life is interested in who you are becoming, not in holding a courtroom for who you were. You have punished yourself enough, and now with this new sentence, you are putting the keys to your own prison in your own hand. You are saying, yes, that was my past, and this is my permission to be new. Feel how your body is doing. Perhaps your shoulders are a little lower. Perhaps your breath has more room. And if tears want to come, let them. Tears are one of the ways the body says, we are releasing something. And as you wipe them, you can remind yourself that you are not doing this alone. You are doing it with a field of support that you may not see with your eyes, but you can feel if you pay attention. And because you are not alone, it is safe to trust that what you truly need will find you. So say with me now, all the resources I need are coming to me in perfect ways and perfect timing. And gently repeat, all the resources I need are coming to me in perfect ways and perfect timing. And you might picture these resources as small lights moving toward you from different directions. One light is a person. One light is an idea. One light is an opportunity. One light is extra energy on a day when you thought you had nothing left. And every time you affirm this, you are telling life, I am ready to notice and accept what you are sending, instead of insisting that help must look one specific way and arrive on one specific schedule. You see, the impossible often becomes possible when we stop trying to control the how and relax into being clear about the what and the why. And this sentence helps you do exactly that. And because so many impossible labels were glued onto you by a sense of not being good enough, we are going to bless that tender place directly by saying, I am worthy of impossible things becoming possible in my life. And again, more slowly, I am worthy of impossible things becoming possible in my life. And if your mind brings up all the reasons you think you are not worthy, you do not have to wrestle with each reason one by one. You simply keep affirming the new truth, because you will never argue your way out of shame. You will only love your way out. When you choose worthiness as a new thought, even if it feels too big, you are planting a seed that will grow if you keep watering it with repetition, patience, and small actions that reflect this new respect for yourself. Now, my sweetheart, I want to return your power to its rightful owner, because you may have been taught that your mind is the boss and you are the servant. But that is not how it truly works. Your mind is a magnificent tool. It responds to direction, and when you stop letting old fearful patterns drive the car, you can gently take the wheel again. So breathe in, feel your feet, feel your seat, feel your chest, and say with me, I am a powerful, creative being. My thoughts and feelings help shape my reality. And again, I am a powerful, creative being. My thoughts and feelings help shape my reality. And notice how different it feels to speak to yourself this way, instead of calling yourself names when you make a mistake. You are not saying that you control every detail of the universe. You are simply acknowledging that your inner atmosphere affects what you notice, what you choose, how you show up, and that is a very big piece of the puzzle. And when you own this gently, you step out of the victim role and into the role of co-creator, which is where your soul has always wanted you to be. And of course, creation does not happen in one giant leap. It happens in countless small steps. So to comfort the part of you that thinks it has to change everything overnight, we will add another loving thought. Every day, I take small, loving steps toward my vision. And once more, every day, I take small, loving steps toward my vision, because I want you to know that brushing your teeth with awareness, drinking a glass of water with gratitude, making that one phone call, sitting down for 10 focused minutes, all of these count. All of these are evidence that you are moving, and the subconscious loves evidence. It does not need drama. It needs consistency. And these words help you celebrate the small steps that used to feel invisible. And as you take these steps, the old impulse is always to tighten, to clench, to worry that if you relax, everything will fall apart. But in truth, it is often our tightness that blocks the very good we are asking for. So let us soften that pattern with another gentle idea and say together, I relax, let go, and allow life to surprise me with goodness. And then a second time, feeling into the words relax and goodness. I relax, let go, and allow life to surprise me with goodness, because you are training your system to know that ease is not dangerous, that peace is not laziness, that receiving is not wrong. For so long you have used worry as a way to feel in control. But worry never protected you. It only exhausted you. And now you are choosing a new way to feel safe by trusting that you and life are on the same team and that you can let some things unfold without squeezing them. And now, as we gather all of these new thoughts together like a bouquet, I want to give you one last affirmation that you can carry into the rest of your day, something that ties the ribbon around this practice. And you can say it with me slowly, as if you were writing a new chapter title in the book of your life. What once felt impossible is now becoming the next natural chapter of my life. And then again, what once felt impossible is now becoming the next natural chapter of my life. And feel how gentle that is, how it does not rush you, how it does not demand fireworks. It simply says, the things that used to live in the land of never are quietly walking toward, of course, and you are allowed to move with them. You don't have to know exactly when or how. You simply agree that you are no longer exiling your desires to some faraway planet. You are letting them come closer. You are making room for them at the table of your everyday life. As you finish this practice, notice any subtle shifts in your body or mood. Maybe just 1 degree more spacious, 1 degree less hopeless, and know that this is how true transformation begins, not with thunder, but with a series of gentle, loving thoughts repeated often. You are doing beautifully. You are learning to speak to yourself in a new way. Next, put one hand on your heart and one on your belly and breathe as if you were giving yourself permission to arrive fully in this moment, and then gently introduce this thought into your mind. The infinite intelligence within me is turning the impossible into the possible. Say it again, slowly, almost like a lullaby for your nervous system. The infinite intelligence within me is turning the impossible into the possible. You don't have to understand how it does that. Just as you do not understand exactly how your body heals a cut or how your lungs know when to breathe in and when to breathe out. You simply decide to acknowledge that there is a deeper wisdom that knows. And as you keep repeating this, that wisdom begins to feel invited, welcomed, recognized. Imagine that every time you say it, you are taking your attention away from the old story. I don't know how. I can't. It's too late. And you are shining a small but steady light on a new story. Something in me does know how, and it is already working on my behalf. And if another little voice pops up and laughs or doubts, you can smile and say, yes, I hear you. And still, the infinite intelligence within me is turning the impossible into the possible. Because you are not arguing with your fear, you are gently outloving it. You might picture this intelligence as a quiet, loving presence at the center of your being, endlessly patient, never offended by your doubts, simply waiting for you to remember that you and it are not separate. You might see it as a gardener who has been tending the soil of your life for many years, who knows exactly when each seed is ready to sprout. And when you affirm this sentence, you are allowing that gardener to show you new ways, new paths, new ideas that your fearful mind could not see. And little by little, what used to look impossible begins to look like an interesting challenge, then a possibility. And one day you may wake up and realize you are living inside what once felt like a wild dream. Now, my dear, let us talk about something that sits beneath so many impossibles, and that is the quiet belief that you do not really deserve big, beautiful things, that somehow you must settle for small crumbs while others feast. And I want very gently to turn that belief upside down. So as you breathe, imagine that you are sitting in front of a mirror, not just seeing your face, but seeing your whole life. Every time you were kind, every time you survived something you thought would break you, every time you showed up again after disappointment, and in that mirror, speak this new truth. I am worthy of receiving great things that go far beyond what I can now imagine. Say it again with a little more softness. I am worthy of receiving great things that go far beyond what I can now imagine. Notice that we are not asking whether you earned it. We are not listing your achievements. We are going deeper than performance and touching the simple fact that you exist and that is your worth. You may have been told explicitly or silently that desiring something too big is arrogant or unrealistic or selfish. So a part of you learned to shrink your wants to fit someone else's comfort, and then you called that being realistic. But you are allowed to question that now. When you affirm that you are worthy of receiving great things, you are not promising to grab anything from anyone. You are simply agreeing that life is allowed to bless you, that you are allowed to walk toward a wider, kinder experience without apologizing. You might even ask yourself quietly, where have I been turning away from good because it felt too big for me? And you may remember times when opportunities came and you said, oh no, not me. Or love knocked and you hid. Or a new idea arrived and you immediately dismissed it. And in those moments, it wasn't that life said no to you. It was that an old self-image did. So this beautiful sentence becomes a gentle hammer that cracks that image little by little. Every time you say it, you stretch your inner container of what feels allowed. And you can help the process by doing one small act each day that reflects more worthiness. Saying yes to help, saying no to disrespect, choosing food that truly nourishes you, putting on clothes that make you feel beautiful now, not 20 pounds from now. Each choice whispers to your subconscious, I am worthy of receiving great things. And soon, the impossible is not. Having good, the impossible is going back to a life where you constantly reject it. Take another calm breath and imagine that ahead of you there is a doorway, and on the other side of that doorway lives a version of you who is more expressed, more at peace, more supported, more in flow with life. You can't see every detail through the door, but you can feel that the energy is brighter, lighter, more joyful. And perhaps you have been standing in front of this door for years, looking at the handle and saying, one day, when I feel ready, I will go through. And I would love for you to begin speaking a different sentence right here. The door of success is opening for me, and I step through with confidence and gratitude. Say it in your mind as you imagine your hand reaching for the handle. The door of success is opening for me, and I step through with confidence and gratitude. You may notice that your body tenses a little at the word success, because perhaps you were taught that success means pressure, jealousy, losing yourself, or having people expect too much of you. And if that is so, I invite you to redefine success as something that fits your soul, something that includes rest, authenticity, kindness, and alignment. Then when you affirm that the door of success is opening, you are not forcing yourself into a narrow role. You are walking into a life that fits you better. Confidence here does not mean never feeling afraid. It means feeling the fear and letting your feet move anyway, trusting that you can learn as you go. And gratitude means you remember you are not the only one building this new chapter. Life is helping. As you picture yourself stepping through that door, You can also begin to view your days differently. And this is where another beautiful truth comes in. My life is a continuous stream of miracles and unending happiness. Now, you may say, Louise, my life does not look like a continuous stream of miracles, and happiness certainly feels like it stops and starts. And I will tell you, I am not asking you to deny your pain. I am inviting you to widen your definition of a miracle and to see happiness as a background melody rather than a single loud note. A miracle can be a friend calling at the right moment, a parking place when you are late, a quiet moment of clarity about a situation that has confused you for years, your own willingness to try again after you have stumbled. And as you train your mind to notice these, you begin to see that they were always there, but you were trained to label them normal and therefore miss their beauty. When you keep affirming, my life is a continuous stream of miracles and unending happiness, you are not saying you will never feel sad or have challenges. You are deciding that underneath all the waves of emotion, there is a river of goodness that never stops flowing. And your job is to keep turning your attention back to that river. The more you do this, the more your nervous system learns that joy is not a rare visitor, but a resident. And what once seemed impossible, that you could live from a place of quiet contentment, becomes the ground you stand on. Now there is one more key we must place in your hand, and it may be the simplest and the most powerful. I choose to believe that all things are possible, and that belief is becoming my reality. This sentence is like a bridge between the world you have known and the world you are creating. Because everything we have spoken about the infinite intelligence within you, your worthiness to receive, the door of success, the stream of miracles, depends on the lens through which you look at life. And belief is that lens. If you wake each day and put on the lenses that say, nothing ever works for me, I am too old, too late, too stuck, then every event is filtered through that, and you will find evidence to support it. Not because it is the cosmic truth, but because it is the story you are feeding. Today you are learning that you can choose a different lens. You can wake and say, I choose to believe that all things are possible, and that belief is becoming my reality. Even if a part of you rolls its eyes, and still you choose it again, because you are not waiting for your feelings to approve before you plant a new idea. Notice the gentleness built into this sentence. You are not claiming that your reality has already changed in every visible way. You are acknowledging that your belief is becoming your reality. And that word, becoming, makes room for the process, for the days when you feel strong and the days when you feel wobbly, and both are part of the journey. You might help yourself by asking, if I truly believed that all things were possible, how would I interpret this situation differently? How would I speak to myself about this challenge? What small step would I take today? And then follow even one of those answers, because this is how belief moves from the head into the body, through action. You can play with this in very simple ways. Believe that it is possible to have one moment of quiet in a noisy day and look for it. Believe that it is possible for one conversation to go better than expected and show up differently to it. Believe that it is possible for one old fear to feel 1 degree lighter and breathe into it. Each time something shifts, you can say to yourself, "Look, my new belief is becoming my reality." And in that moment, you are building a new inner history, one where you are not the person to whom nothing good ever happens, but the person who collaborates with life. As we gather all these beautiful truths, I want you to feel how different your inner room feels compared to when we began. There is more light, more air, a little more room to move, and you have done that by speaking to yourself differently, by daring to introduce new sentences where once there were only old complaints. You may still have questions, you may still have situations that confuse you, and that is all right. We are not trying to live without questions. We are learning to walk with them in a kinder way, held by the knowing that the infinite intelligence within you is turning the impossible into the possible, that you are worthy of receiving great things beyond what you can now imagine, that the door of success is opening and you can walk through with confidence and gratitude, that your life is a continuous stream of miracles and ever unfolding happiness, and that you are choosing again and again to believe that all things are possible, and that belief is gently becoming your reality. Take a slow breath now and imagine that each of these sentences is like a soft, warm light somewhere inside you. Maybe one is glowing in your chest, one in your belly, one in your throat, one in your mind, one above your head. And together they form a constellation that is uniquely yours. A pattern of light that says, "This soul is remembering." You do not have to be perfect at any of this. You only have to be willing. And you have already shown that willingness by being here, by reading or listening, by letting new ideas touch places that have been defended for a long time. From today on, you can choose one of these affirmations to be your companion for the day. Write it on a piece of paper, put it on your phone, whisper it when you wash your hands, repeat it when you wait in line. Let it be the gentle background music of your day, and watch how your inner atmosphere begins to match the words you are offering it. You are not stuck with the beliefs you inherited. You are free to choose again. And as you choose more loving thoughts, more expansive stories, more generous assumptions about what is possible for you, life responds in kind, because life loves a willing heart. Well, let me share something very simple with you, something I have watched change many lives, including my own. When people hear about affirmations, they often think they must collect them like stickers and paste 10 or 20 onto their morning, and then they feel overwhelmed and guilty when they can't keep up. I don't want that for you. I want your practice to feel like a soft hand you hold, not a heavy bag you drag. So instead of trying to remember a whole list every day, I'd like you to choose just one sentence, the one that touches you the most right now. One sentence you truly feel is worth repeating. One sentence that makes your chest loosen or your belly soften when you say it. You may not believe it completely, and that's all right. I'm not asking you to force belief. I'm asking you to notice your body. Does your breathing get a little deeper when you say, "Everything is working out for my highest good"? Does your heart feel a tiny bit safer when you whisper, "I am worthy of beautiful things"? Does your mind calm down just a little when you say, "I am guided and I am not alone"? That is the sentence I want you to pick. One sentence you can live with, walk with, breathe with. If none of them feel quite true yet, choose the one that feels the least impossible, the one that feels like it could become true with a little love and a little time. Once you have that one sentence, we take it somewhere very important. The mirror. Mirror work has such a special place in my heart because it brings your mind, your eyes, and your body all into the same room. Stand in front of your mirror as you are. No need to look perfect, and gently look into your own eyes. Not at your hair, not at the lines you are judging, not at the little things you would like to change into your eyes, the way you would look at a dear friend who needs kindness. Then say your sentence out loud 10 times. Not fast, not like you're rushing through a homework assignment, but slowly, letting each repetition sink a little deeper. The first time might feel mechanical. The second time might feel silly. By the third or fourth, you may want to look away. This is very common. When that happens, you add a little bridge of kindness. Instead of "I deserve miracles," you say, "I am willing to believe that I deserve miracles." Instead of "I love myself," you say, "I am willing to learn to love myself." That small phrase, "I am willing," is like opening a window in a stuffy room. It doesn't demand that you already be there. It simply invites you to move in that direction. And if your mind argues, you don't have to argue back. You can say, "Thank you for trying to protect me," and then gently return to your eyes and your sentence. The power is not in saying it perfectly. The power is in staying with yourself while you say it. 10 times may feel like a lot at first, but as you continue, you will notice that somewhere around the 7th or 8th repetition, your voice softens, your shoulders drop a little, and something inside you begins to listen. And then, my dear, we do something that many people forget. We anchor the sentence in the physical world with a tiny action. Think of your affirmation as a seed you have just planted in the soil of your mind. If you walk away and never water it, it will struggle, no matter how beautiful it is. So after you finish your mirror work, ask yourself, what can I do in the next 60 seconds that matches this new truth? If your sentence is, "I am open to new opportunities," you might write 3 lines in your notebook about one small opportunity you're curious about, or send one email you've been postponing. If your sentence is, "I respect my body," you might drink a glass of water slowly and gratefully, or stretch your back for a minute. If your sentence is, "I am creating order and peace in my life," you might clear one tiny space, a corner of your desk, your bedside table, the chair where clothes usually pile up. If your sentence is, "I allow myself to feel safe," you might sit down and take 10 deep, slow breaths, letting your exhale be a little longer than your inhale, and tell your nervous system, "It's all right. I am here with you." It doesn't have to be big. In fact, I would prefer it to be small because small actions are easier to repeat, and repetition is what teaches the subconscious that something has truly changed. Affirmation is the seed, action is the water. When you pair the two, you are telling yourself, I don't just say this, I live it, even in a tiny way. Over days and weeks, this little protocol becomes a quiet backbone for your life. One sentence that truly touches you, 10 honest repetitions in the mirror, one small action that matches your new story. That is all. You may be tempted to judge yourself and say, it's not enough. I should be doing more. But remember, the old habit of self-criticism never built anything beautiful for you. We are not interested in impressing anybody. We are interested in transforming you. So if you forget one day, you don't punish yourself. You notice it. You bless the day for whatever it gave you, and you begin again tomorrow. If you feel silly, you smile and keep going. If you get emotional in front of the mirror, you let the tears come because they are evidence that the old armor is softening. Every time you choose your one sentence instead of the old sentence of, I can't, or it's too late, you are rewiring not only your mind, but also your sense of who you are. And one morning, perhaps quite unexpectedly, you will be halfway through your affirmation before you realize that you are no longer just willing to believe it, you actually do. That is how the impossible becomes normal, not through force, not through perfection, but through a gentle, daily willingness to meet yourself, to speak to yourself with love, and to act as if this love were already true. You are not asking life for permission to change. You are giving yourself permission to become the person you were always meant to be. And this tiny practice, repeated day after day, is how you quietly, steadily, lovingly prove it to yourself. So now that you've been practicing your one sentence and sealing it with a tiny action, let's gently stretch your imagination a little further, because your mind loves pictures just as much as it loves words. I want to invite you into a very simple future exercise, not to escape your life, but to give your subconscious a new direction to walk toward. You don't need a vision board wall. You don't need a 2-page script. You just need one small scene, about 30 seconds, in your inner movie of you living a life that feels a little more free, a little more loving, a little more you. Think of it as choosing one frame from the movie of your future and holding it long enough for your heart to recognize it. Manifestation is not about forcing the universe. It is about teaching your nervous system that a kinder future is safe. So we will keep this very simple, very gentle, and very doable. Close your eyes for a moment, if that feels comfortable, and ask yourself, if one thing became beautifully easier in my life, what would a normal, ordinary moment look like? Not the moment you win the lottery, not the moment fireworks go off, but a quiet morning in a home you love, or a peaceful afternoon at work, or a walk in a city that feels good to your body. Where are you? Are you in a bright kitchen with sunlight on the counter, or sitting at a little desk by a window, or walking down a street with trees on both sides? Who is around you? Perhaps there is someone you love in the other room, or a friend sending you a message. Or maybe you are delightfully alone and feeling very at ease with that. What are you doing with your hands? Are you sipping tea, typing calmly, holding a book, petting a dog, tucking your child's hair behind their ear? The goal is not to create a perfect fantasy. The goal is to give your body a taste of the life it longs to relax into. Notice how your shoulders are in this future scene. Are they a little lower? Notice your jaw, maybe it's not clenching. Notice your belly, perhaps it is soft instead of tight. You are just building a little pocket of time where your whole being can say, "Ah, this is what I'm moving toward." As you stand in this tiny future moment, I want you to let your 5 senses participate, because your subconscious responds so beautifully when you do. What do you hear in this scene? Is there quiet, or the gentle hum of a city, or birds, or the sound of pages turning, or someone laughing in another room? What do you see if you look around slowly? The color of the walls, the sky out of the window, the clothes on your body, the light on the floor. Can you reach out in your imagination and touch something? A cup, a door handle, a pillow, a tree trunk, and feel its texture, warm, cool, soft, solid. Is there a smell here? Coffee, clean sheets, fresh air, rain? And then come back to your own breathing inside this scene. Is your breath deep and even, like the body of someone who is not rushing to prove anything? That is what we are after. You are not only thinking your future, you are rehearsing how it feels to be the person who lives there. When your senses are involved, this no longer stays in the head. It begins to sink into your cells. Now we choose one core feeling in this future, just one, to be the heart of your practice. Do you want this scene to feel safe, free, enough, loved? Pick the one that makes your chest loosen the most when you say the word. Maybe you whisper to yourself, safe, or free, or enough, or loved. Let that word sit right in the center of your body, as if you could place it in your chest like a small, warm stone. Then, still inside your little future moment, breathe with it for 10 slow breaths. 10 is not a magic number. It is simply long enough for your nervous system to register. Oh, this is what safety feels like. Or, this is what freedom feels like. Instead of only registering the old familiar feelings of hurry and fear. You don't have to hold the picture perfectly still. You just keep returning to that core feeling again and again as you inhale and exhale. You are teaching your body a new emotional home, one breath at a time. And as always, we are not chasing perfection here. This exercise is meant to be lived with, not performed for a grade. Some days your scene will be clear and colorful. Other days it may feel foggy or flat. That's all right. You do not have to get everything right. You only have to visit this future for a few moments and let your heart remember that more is possible. If you miss a day, you don't scold yourself. You simply smile and come back the next morning or the next evening. The power is not in doing it every single day without fail. The power is in returning again and again. instead of abandoning yourself. Change does not demand that you never stumble. It invites you to keep walking in the same direction. So you choose your one scene. You feel it with your senses. You breathe your core feeling for 10 breaths. And you let today's version be enough. Before we close, I want to leave 2 thoughts in your mind like little bookmarks for your day. What you call impossible is often just an old belief that nobody has updated yet. And another, you don't have to wait for a miracle to knock on your door. You build a gentle daily practice, and the miracle finally knows where to find you. Every time you choose to see yourself in a kinder future, you are already beginning to live differently in the present. And I think that is the most beautiful kind of magic there is.